All right, welcome to day 24 of my latest series, raising funds for world domination. I'm in between projects for a while, so I've decided to just do this daily live streaming series while I'm kind of distracted with other things. I got my L2 merits hearing is in 7 days on the 26th, so I've been inviting super chats if people want to vote on what I work on next. And other than that, we will continue where we left off yesterday, which is doing some work on this game. And because people always ask what I'm working on, this is what I'm working on. A terminal-based game where you simulate the process of mining blocks. So, yesterday night, I worked a bit on the help menu. And I today actually finished some of those changes to make nesting in the help menu. So I can open. This is not quite implemented yet, but I can go into another level of the help menu that I can do back. So the general code for that works. So I can have any number of less nested items in the help menu and then attach them to an event. So other than that, we'll continue with the development. Obligatory first comment. Congratulations on being the first commenter of the night. So the next thing that I want to move toward is, let's see. Actually, So I want to implement some basic controls so I can actually start instead of just opening and closing the help menu. Yeah, so these are specific to opening and closing the help menu. So what I actually want is a thing that can close the current frame. Jacob Boss says, what is your game? Are you building a game engine from scratch? What is the vision? What do you want your game to be? Yeah, I guess you could basically say I'm building a game engine from scratch. The one of the key focuses of this is it's going to run in the terminal. And the reasoning behind that is most of my audience is interested in terminal stuff. Linux software development. So I think it makes sense to kind of bootstrap the game. I can bootstrap it. I think it's easier to bootstrap a game with minimal game with like UI, because that's obviously a big part of actually developing stuff like 3D graphics and animations and stuff like that. And if I just remove all that, then, and who knows, maybe someday I can actually kind of reskin it to, if I can get the internal game mechanics and networking working well, then maybe I can, AI will be good enough that I could just use like AI generated, like on-demand generated textures or something like that. You can already almost kind of do that. Yeah, right now the game is so simple that it just implements the most basic possible game loop. And I've kind of moved away from actually implementing game mechanics toward adding some stuff, some like UI features, so I can actually so I can support new features in the game, like an actual interactive inventory menu, stuff like have equipment and stuff, the ability to craft things, etc. Reminds me of Dwarf Fortress. Yeah, a lot of people have made that reference. I would say, in a way, I almost the visuals of it would be similar. In a way, I've studied the concept. I've never played Dwarf Fortress, but I've studied the concept of it, and I think it's very interesting. It's like a symbolism of how kind of minimal you can make the UI. Like the success of Dwarf Fortress, I think has made me think, maybe something like this could actually work. It'd be a good way to bootstrap. Although in terms of game mechanics, I almost think what I would envision for a game would be almost the opposite of Dwarf Fortress in terms of the actual game mechanics. Because Dwarf Fortress is still about a lot of fantasy focus, but I would be interested to see a more like realistic, like actual simulation game where you could like simulate, real chemical elements and stuff like that, as opposed to like fictional fantasy things. Yo, Gaspro, good luck on that world domination. Thank you. Any tips on starting a YouTube channel? To give good tips, I'd have to you'd have to ask a more specific question. I would say to start off with, just make kind of like, test the waters with a few kind of low effort, low effort, but not necessarily low quality videos, and just like test to see is there any audience for those kinds of things, and then I think it takes quite a while for the algorithm to like really figure out what your channel's about. Is the title satire? Nope. I really want to take over the world. I think you got to like the game for what you want. We're not so unique that our own desires for a game aren't a larger fan base of players. I think you got to like the game for what you want. I guess you're saying that it's you have to be interested in the game concept yourself. Is the game free? There's a 30-day trial period, so you can. There's a link in the description to the GitHub, and you can. You're legally allowed to play the game for 30 days, according to the license. But then after that, you have to pay me at least $1 using any of the methods described in the README. Okay, we got our enum. Honestly, it's not a very good game at the moment, but soon it'll be great. Well, maybe not soon. We'll see if I get there. Basically, I meant if you follow your own passion for the game, other people will probably like what you like. Yeah, I guess that is true to the extent of like YouTube and the algorithm. That's one of the reasons why I thought it just kind of make sense to continue to lean into YouTube, because it seems to be good at finding other people who are actually interested in the same topic. There's not really many terminal-based games that are out there, at least any of them worth playing. Let's see. I'll probably have to implement a new message for this one. Wonder if there are any terminal-based Discord chats. The more people of that type that know about it, the bigger the player base. Yeah, I think at this point, I think the game is almost more of an idea at this point. There's basically there's very little gameplay loop, so I'm not really going to try and push it or advertise it as a thing right now. I'll just kind of right now, I think it almost makes more sense to just advertise the process. I think I could just derive more revenue from the kind of interest in the idea rather than the game itself now. And once it's like something you can actually play for fun. Because personally, I don't think it's fun. Although I do think it is impressively, like, you can sit down and mess around with it for like an hour. And it's a nice mindless thing. Like I can just mindlessly chat, talk to chat, and then play the game. There's currently no goal or really much you can do with the block types. Enjoy your vibe coding sesh and stay gooded. I'm finna head out for time being. Have a good night. Gotcha, yeah, future. Very cool. Thank you for the kind words. I'm here for domination. Squash us like worms. I'm not gonna squash everyone. I'm just gonna take over the world so I can fix all those problems that we have, and then we can be nice to everyone, and then nobody has to get squashed. All right, for this one, I need a new message type. I'm building a game in Unity, only 60 hours into it. It's going to be isometric 2D top-down. Sort of similar to the game Rust PvE, to conquer a valley, and take over a floating mountain. Interesting. Honestly, I have no experience in like real game development. I've never used Unity or any of those gaming engines. And honestly, I actually try to avoid playing video games because I get really addicted to them and waste a lot of time. Most of my background is in writing servers and more back-end stuff, embedded systems, operating system design and stuff like that. Can't believe you actually read that. My hero. Started more Age of Empires 2D style, but moving towards the game Rust. Yeah, I've heard of Rust because of how popular it is. I've seen some clips of gameplay, but not familiar with the gameplay itself. Are there going to be enemies in the game? Yeah, that is something I do plan to add. Right now, there's no the server component doesn't really exist much. Like there's no concept of a game tick at this point. It's almost like a front end to a database or something. That's one of the things on the to-do list. But right now I'm prioritizing getting the ability to just like present more stuff on the UI. Because there's a bunch of times where even for just development, it would be nice to have like a window that I can actually show me the game state so I can get feedback on what's happening instead of like running a debugger and stuff. And even a debugger like that shows you variables and stuff, but I want to, format things and present it. I mean, you're doing something way more technical than Unity. Yeah, I know vaguely what Unity is. I know if you want to like you can do some really impressive stuff very quickly with Unity from what I've seen. But this is I'd say very, very different from a Unity game. Maybe it would help your process presence to have a small text window in the corner stating you're working on. Yeah, I should probably have something like that. What features you are implementing? Yeah, that's a yeah. In a way, it's kind of amusing. I hadn't thought specifically of that. I guess this I don't even know if I'll continue streaming. So part of like for social media success, you have to just experiment with different formats and different styles. And since I was kind of like I have a couple things that are kind of interrupt me over the next week or so. So I just decided, it's just turn on the computer and then do a little bit of work every day. It's very kind of low effort. I don't need to prepare. I could just start a stream and be like, well, I have nothing to do. So yeah, I think longer term, we'll see. I might do something like that. I think honestly, this kind of streaming is boring. Coding streams are boring, but I could do some other stuff. Like I could do more of my live streaming in the woods series or something. But then again, that's not really. I'm not really like doing anything, and it's not. It's maybe more exciting, but it's not producing anything long term. It's a major time suck to re-answer questions for new drop-ins. Yeah, and there's probably, you're right. I think there's probably a lot of people that drop off. People that come in and they're like, I don't understand this, and then they just leave. Yeah, I guess I have to figure out where to put it on the UI. My UI is not really. Ideally, I would have like what I need is like a custom RTMP server overlay or something. But then I've got to figure out like how to interact with the streaming API, or maybe there's like overlays I can use. It's more stuff I have to look into. But I'm already like working on other stuff every day. Yeah, I'm just looking at my screen thinking like where would be a good place to jam it on the screen so people can read it. Just use Tmax. Oh, like at the top of in this window. Yeah, I think it'd be better if it's like an overlay off to the side or something. There is a bit of wasted real estate. Yeah, I'll think about that. I don't know. Yeah, that is a good idea. I should do that at some point. I don't know if I'll do it this week, but let's see. I missed some chats. Trevor CG, good idea. I love the things like game, pop-up, automated message explaining things like that. Force game made in Unity. You share profits if you make a lot. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. They have a pricing model and stuff like that. If the game's scheduled one, release March 24th, and the only dev who made the game sold millions of copies and is rich. Live streaming drives audience interaction, consequently driving the algorithm. Yeah, I probably keep it plain text. Yeah, that makes sense. I think for live stream coding is fine. I'm too in the zone for multitasking, but gaming is good background activity to stream to. An activity that you can do without much thought. Yeah, for a while I actually just streamed the gameplay of the game, but honestly, it's not a very good game yet, so it's kind of boring. Also, you can use WebSockets to suck chat into a terminal session to gain more real estate. You can use WebSockets. Okay. Are you familiar with like the tech process of like what would be the go-to solution for like if I want the let's say I did want to replace everything, like if I wanted to just make this window like most of the window and then take the chat and if the chat in a Tmux window and then like and I don't know if you know of a way I can put the like the number of viewers and all that kind of stuff, if I can get that available as a UI. I looked into, there's like you can sign up for an API key and stuff. I can get that in before we open my Linux teacher does this. Okay. Yeah, I know it's something you can do, but I was just kind of curious about like the standard way. I know there's an API I can write, but there also might be some like Streamlabs plugin or something that just does this automatically. So if it ends up being complicated, like I don't want to waste like a month writing a bunch of code to do this thing that long term, I think if I do more streaming, it would be kind of interesting to do that. Honestly, it'd be kind of interesting to have like interesting overlays and have like status updates. If I could do like, something to do with IRL streaming or the ability to have like rich metrics and stuff. Have like all kinds of stats and diagnostics in real time. Look at Primegen. He's a famous coding streamer. He's comes up all the time in my recommendations. Not super complex. It would just fit your vibe better. Have everything in terminal. Yeah, I think it would be definitely would work well for the aesthetic. Also make your terminal. Oh, there's fireworks everywhere. I almost spilled my tea. Yeah, I figured it's probably not like that complicated, I guess, but I don't know if I probably have to get like, I don't know if I have to get like a developer key or something to access the API, or if it's like Streamlabs has like some overlays and stuff, but a lot of the stuff is finicky. Like I tried, I signed up for Streamlabs when I did my mobile streaming, and then when it kept giving me all these errors about like API errors, and it was like I've configured it was supposed to do, if someone does like a super chat, it was supposed to come up with play a sound effect and do all this stuff, and then but it never did that, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, don't if it's I'm not committed to actually doing it, so don't waste too much time on it. But if I would be kind of interested in like the 10,000 foot view, like if he says he uses a Streamlabs plugin or something, because there's all kinds of like, I think there's like OBS overlays and stuff, and there's also a newer version of OBS. I think that's better, and it allows you to, I think it allows you to like pull in the chat a bit better and format it. It's so much work to do, to like just try out all this technology and stuff, and then people keep telling me like, hey, use call it, NeoVim, which I've tried but have not gotten back to doing anything with. And then use large language models. Has anyone from here tried LLM for summarizing PR? What is the good, bad, and ugly? I can see the benefit, but there could be some downsides. Also, I don't mean replacing human PR. A PR pull request. I would imagine a large language model would be not very good at doing that. It would probably miss some of the, like, honestly, that's one of the things I'd almost think you should automate at least. Maybe you could use it for like finding problems. If I was going to use it, I would say like I would like give the PR the prime the LLM with a bunch of stuff about like, here's the stuff I don't like to see in PR requests. If you see something like that in this, then flag it or summarize any of these code smells or problems. Or that's what I'm kind of leaning toward. Is like, it's like a great kind of nagging friend to like point stuff out that might be a big problem. I have seen some projects use large language models. It basically just gives a summary of what is in the PR. Maybe catches some typos. It doesn't review the whole pull request by itself. Yeah, I would think it'd be all about the prompt. If you prime it well enough with just like a giant list of things to look for and flag, and they use the output as kind of like a warning. Alright, this will probably crash. But let's try it out. Max, SIU says, hello, how's it going? That is interesting. It is deadlocked. All right, so we said find the focused frame. Actually, let's see. Maybe I broke something with the close message. I think I did. I changed this to a blocking work item. Chess Fun says, hi, how's it going? Tonight we're working on the block mining simulation game. Same thing we do every night, at least for the last 24 days. Oops, sorry about that. So I'm going to make this the close message synchronous as well as the open. So I might get in problems if I have these in different queues. I don't want them to execute out of order or something. T-Rex says, hello. How's it going? Open help menu. Close help menu. Close current frame. All right, that's not unexpected. I figured that would happen. I I know why this happens, but I'm just not sure about the best way to solve it. I want to solve it in a way that creates as few other problems as possible. What's the timeline on the Axel Heiberg colonization? Depends on funding. I think we're really counting on that $12 billion super chat for building the deepwater port. That's pretty critical. Once you get a port in there, then we can ship all kinds of stuff up there. There's only like 1 or 2 months a year where you can actually send a ship up there, unless you have like an icebreaker. But I'm not even sure how thick the ice is up there. Yeah. So the issue here is we close this, we remove this frame. And it's trying to print the frame, but it does not exist. What's your expected outcome of the attendance hearing? Well, we'll see, I guess. It'll be 7 or so days from now, 26th. I got all my evidence and testimony and stuff laid out. And there's still quite a few tenants who are still here who've also got like a lot of them are elderly and they don't have the resources to like do as much research and stuff, but like a lot of their testimony is like even more compelling than mine. But even though it's like it's not very long, they're like, I have severe medical problems, and here's like test results from a doctor. Please don't evict like some 90-year-old woman with health conditions. So I guess what I actually need to do to fix this, then I need to find, I need the ID of the leaf node above the frame. And then I need to explicitly send a message to remove. To remove the leaf node from whatever split it's a part of. Do you think there's oil under Axel Heiberg? I think there's probably a lot of resources up there. Actually, there's a famous fossilized forest. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like insane amounts of natural resources up there. What would you mean by world domination? I'm a little confused. I was just realizing recently that there's so many problems in the world. And if I could just take over the world and then fix all the problems and then order people around, then we wouldn't have problems anymore in the world. So my hope is to get if someone can super chat me a small amount of $12 billion, I can build I can start a new country up in northern Canada on one of these like remote islands. And then we'll bring all the smart people up there. We can build a new society with no problems. Then once we get infinite wealth and housing, we can allow infinite immigration from the rest of the world. What I need is I want to make the operations granular, but I also don't want it to be too. I don't want it to be too overcomplicated. So I also want to remove the leaf node, and then also remove the leaf node from whatever list it's part of. Tell me your plan for world domination. The plan is, well, actually, if you watch my most recent YouTube long form video, and that's my plan for world domination. In short, we're gonna start a new society up on an uninhabited island up in northern Arctic. How does that lead to world domination if you isolate yourself to an island? Well, we got to go where we can start a new country. So we can have a place to build houses. We can have zoning law where it's illegal to build houses. I love how some people take the title very seriously. That's good. Once I finally take over the world, they'll realize how serious it is. I just need that one $12 billion super chat, and I'm set. $12 trillion, not million. No, I think 12 billion. You can get a pretty good port. I was looking up the costs. I think a reasonable port is like 500 million. But then it's not just the port. You need like infrastructure. You need some like fuel depots and stuff like that. So I think 12 billion. That would get you pretty good. And then maybe like a dedicated ship. That would probably cost like, a few million or so. 12 billion. You can't even buy Amazon with that. Yeah, but it's it's you gotta raise some money, and then you prove yourself. Then you can go to like venture capitalists and stuff. What are you doing, sir? I am currently working on a terminal-based block mining game, and I'm working on some detailed user interface improvements at the moment. GG says Yakush Studio. Good game. In what context? Both. I think it's. I think it's all about passion and first vision. I don't quite understand that statement in this context. Okay, I just got some info back on streams. CLI integration. Okay, well, that was fast. Link is not showing. Yeah, I don't think you can share links in chat. You can describe it. It's a streamer. It's a streamer dot bot. Okay. You could just describe it, and then I'll maybe make a note or check the VOD, and then I'll Google it after. I really wish you had another one of those reading week meetups at Waterloo. I had planned to go skiing at the time instead with my family, so I was not able to come. Yeah, that was an interesting experiment to do one of those. I did get a few people who said they wanted to come and weren't able to. There was 20 people who came to that one, so I guess that implies, like, if it was better advertised and stuff, then there's probably even more people that would come. I guess it all depends on people's availability and stuff too. Yeah, at the moment I got lots of stuff going on with the my N13 merits hearing is in 7 days, so it was good. It was I think I could have like done better organization on my part. So we met at the fountain, and then talked a bit, and it's quite cold. So it probably would have made more sense to have a plan to go somewhere. So we went to the plaza, and there was kind of too many. The plaza was quite busy. I was thinking, like, let's go to Williams or something. Williams was quite busy. So I tried to do a vote or something to say, like, where should we maybe go or something. Then I decided that it makes more sense to meet, go to the plaza, and then break into groups. So if anyone who knows each other, you can go out in a group, get some stuff, and then we'll come back to the math C&D lounge. And then anyone who doesn't know anyone there, just go in my group. Because I think it's some people there already knew each other, and then some people just had no idea. So I think if I did stuff like that in the future, it would make sense to, I guess, to make the emphasis on having people meet other people, because I guess people will go to that kind of event to meet me, but I think what people are looking for in the world these days is people just want to find a clique of people who are similar to go do that. Like I don't have time to go have lunch with everyone every week, but if you meet someone at the same school who you share something in common with, then maybe there's a market behind that. Just go to random universities and then just do meetups and be like, hey, if you saw this video, you're probably similar, so you can just plan out a group of some people who all like the same anime or something can go and go to a restaurant in the plaza or something. It is a PAS, scriptability and API integration. Just search streamer bot. Use a script to query the API, or use Palmtail and Loki. Okay, I guess I'll have to Google those. I've never heard of those. Platform as a service, I guess. Okay. Yeah, so I guess maybe they do the YouTube API calls and stuff. In Japan, there are paid friendships. I live in Japan, and yes, you can pay me for friendship. Yeah, I think that's not. I don't know if it's really a friendship if you're paying for it. It's not. It's not much of a friendship. All right, so I have a new message type. So I think I should now be able to query. I guess there's one more query that I'm going to need to be able to do to totally construct the tree, and that'll be to query for the child frame IDs of leaf nodes. let's see. So I can get the root node, and then I can get the children and the frame. Now we need a way to remove split from its parent. Who pays for friends? I guess people in Japan. Actually, I think I clicked on a YouTube video that talked about that, and they said it was like wasn't quite like it was advertised. It was just like it was some kind of marketing thing. Like Westerners, I guess, really are really interested in articles and stuff. But like, hey, look how weird Japan is. But I don't know. It could be wrong. Maybe it's something that people actually do. I would imagine it would be. I would have to imagine you'd be kind of a weird person if you're a frequent user of a service like that. Like you're just always renting random friends. What's your favorite language for coding? I'm coding this in Java. I'd say when I do like low fidelity stuff, I do it in Bash. If I do, usually I'll try to like prototype stuff, and if I'm only doing it 1 or 2 times, I'll do it in Bash, and then I'll use Python if I have to do it a bit more than that. And then if it's something that's I know is going to be a big application, I'll use Java. I'd say Java's the only systems language that I'm super familiar with. So, or not super familiar with, but the most familiar with. I guess other candidates for this would be Go or something, but I don't know Go at all. And of course, people always recommend Rust. My favorite language is Python. Gets the job done. Yeah, Python's okay. I don't know. Do you use it a lot on projects that are like larger than a few thousand lines? Because I find it's eventually like the way modules are imported and stuff is always crazy. And the fact that I like being able to just like write a new function or something like that, and then I could just like I just run the compiler, and the compiler tells me exactly where I need to like finish fixing things up. But in Python or something, you run it and it'll run, but it just silently fails. Your misspelled variables and stuff are not caught as easily. I know I've wasted a lot of time on with Python. There was a specific version before which the way modules, like the path for modules, was changed or something, and you have to have that like underscore init empty underscore init file. It's a thing I really never came to understand very well. Use py-write and mi-py for big projects. Okay, I'm not even familiar with those. You know, there's too much stuff to learn. I think in this world, you like within, if you become a software engineer, I think you really have to, you can only really learn, like you can't know all the languages. I think you just have to pick one of them and then go way down that rabbit hole and not only learn the language, but the tools. Because people tell me about stuff and I never heard of it, so I feel bad for not having learned it. And then I look it up and like, it was only invented like in the last few years or something. IDK, what was the last Python version used? But the Python typing has come a lot way from 3.6 onwards. I think 2.7. That was the one that people used a lot for quite a while. It was the 2.7 to 3 point something. That was the big migration, if I remember correctly. I think it was an earlier version of like Python 2.3 or something like that, or there was someone where prior to that, the way modules were found was like it would search a different path. I just remember wasting a couple of days trying to figure one of those things out. py-write and mi-py or static analyzer, they sort of make Python close to TypeScript. 2.7 is dead. No one should use 2.7. They shouldn't, but then again, well, let's see. I mean, the last time I worked on a Python project was I guess 2021, so that's 4 years ago. So I can't remember if that project was 2.1 or not, but I remember it was a huge deal for everyone to go from 2.7 to 3. I'm sure there's tons of libraries that are just nobody upgraded. Never used Python 2.7 actually. Am I misremembering that 2.7? If you go back to like 5 years ago. Yeah, I think it was 2.7. There was like literally everything was written in 2.7 for a while. And I remember it was a massive deal to upgrade it. Chan's Odyssey says, hi, how's it going? This is the second time I saw your stream, so I had to step in. yeah, it's not a very interesting stream, to be honest. It's pretty boring. Just working on the block mining simulation game. But thanks for stopping by. Hi, good night. Good night to you as well. Wait, Roblox game? Nope. There's a cargo-like package, project commander for Python called UV that makes the experience much nicer now. Yeah, I haven't coded substantial Python in a few years. I guess I imagine anyone who like writes Python code every day for like the last 4 years, I can imagine so many developments and changes and stuff. I don't know where the time goes. Time is just accelerating faster and faster, and I can't keep track. If you're coming from 2.7, then 3.1 would be a big jump. I did a lot of actually I wrote a fairly minimalist tool for doing diffs in the terminal in Python. That was, I think, that was where I got very experienced with Unicode in Python and the different nuances and differences between 2.7 and 3. And my goal was to write just a one file thing that would run correctly with 2.7 and 3 without modifying the script. So I became aware of a lot of the differences there. That was kind of where, you know, they were still in a transitionary period. But, yeah, I guess probably by now everything's upgraded. Then why do YouTube recommend me? I mean, my whole FYP is Roblox, as I make content related to it. YouTube being YouTube, I guess. So I am working on a game. So that's it's a game where you simulate the process of mining blocks in the terminal. So I think someone who's in the demographic of being interested in Roblox would probably also have an interest in this. I myself tried data science short-term course on Python. It was fun, but I forgot everything. Yeah, that's the problem if you don't use it. So where you decided to launch your game? Steam, Epic Store, Roblox? I'll probably, or individual like App Store. So it's on GitHub. You can clone it, although you have to read the license. So you have a license to play it for 30 days, after which time you have to pay me at least $1. Using any of the mentioned methods in the license. I used Python for developing PlayStation API wrapper I developed because I wanted to have a Reddit bot with a PlayStation functionality. A Reddit bot with a PlayStation functionality. I don't even know what that means. A Reddit bot with PlayStation functionality. Now it needs to keep it updated from time to time and add new features. Be right back. Gonna look for content to upload. I meant to say Reddit bot that can fetch PlayStation user info. Interesting. I haven't had a PlayStation since PlayStation 1. I had one of those. It's mainly for a subreddit where people trade in-game items. And the bot would verify that they are who they claim to be. It's very, very dedicated. Oil up, little world leader? You mean drill for some oil and acquire lots of money? Kevin Coolin says hello. One person says, one person's blog that really keeps me up to date with good tools and practices is Julie Evans' blog. Yeah, I've seen her blog on Hacker News frequently. There's a lot of terminal command line stuff there. Quite a few things that are like, there's a lot of stuff that's like a lot of blog posts and stuff like that are kind of just regurgitated stuff from somewhere else, but there's not a lot of people who do original things. And she's got some original stuff. Although I think I've been visiting Hacker News less recently. I would say Julia truly digs deep into topics and thoroughly tests everything. You're right. Most mugs are AI slop or recycled content. Yeah, even some of them are not. Some of them are not even like recycled content. Like a good example would be like Medium.com. That was a website that was I don't even see those articles anymore, where people just like, it's someone like learning how to program, and they'd write a blog post about like how to do a for loop or something, and it's not really original information. Pronounce like the O and go. Oh, it's Dutch. Kevin Colin. Okay, so it's like the German two dots. I don't know if that's the umlaut or the umlaut. Medium has so many low quality AI generated stuff. Does it even still like exist anymore? Does anyone? I don't think I've seen a Medium article in a while. They were all over Hacker News for a while, and they like kind of shadow banned them, or they deranked them. Okay, that might work. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I think it's hard to see. What is this about? Why it recommends me this coding stuff. That means the YouTube algorithm has decided that you want to learn how to program. So it's going to force you to by spamming you with programming topics. Like this one. Vince B says, "Hey man, how are you doing?" Not too bad. Just doing some work on the block mining simulation game. I'm working on a general way of closing frames in the interface. Can you try to comment on what you're doing? I have no clue what's going on. That's a very reasonable request. I haven't been talking a lot in the stream. It's hard to multitask with coding and well, let's see. Actually, this will probably compile. So if I get this to compile, then I'll show you what I'm doing. 115. I think he is raising funds for some reason for world domination. So this is I'm currently on Linux in the Linux terminal. So you can, this is a game I'm working on. So you wander around this procedurally generated universe you spam the M key, and you mine blocks, and they show up down here in your inventory. And currently I'm working on improving the user interface. And currently this is the extent, the full extent of the game loop. There's no other content in the game. You just mine some blocks. Actually, you can press the C key and it'll create a pickaxe, which lets you mine out to a larger radius. And that is the extent of what I'm working on. So currently I'm working on, I guess some really boring changes to like traverse the tree of user interface frames, and making a feature in the help menu so you can like dynamically control the UI. What are all available blocks? There's iron ore, and I can show the help menu. Should add more elements. Yeah, I want to. I'm at a point where it's like it will be easy to do that, but once the user, this fantastic new user interface is working a bit better, then yeah. So if I press open help menu, so the help menu shows a list of things you can do, and here's the block types. So there's gold and a few other ones. And right now there's you can't do anything with these, so you just mine them and then that's it. Yeah, once there's actually stuff you can do, then it'll be even more cool. All right, now I can actually try to remove this item. Currently, I need to be able to remove the split with that contains the currently focused frame. So I now have a message. Whoa. Remove child split. Oh no, it was what is that crazy hexadecimal number in the menu? That is the raw data of the block. So in the database, the internal representation of the block, I want to kind of like standardize that. So basically, when so a block can be intrinsically identified. The type of block can be intrinsically identified by what data it is or what form it has. I thought about if I develop this more like a you could have like multiple facets for how to identify a block. So the simple thing would be could just have like a number or something. A block could represent a color, or it could represent, you could have a parser that says like this block is a valid XML document or a file or a PNG or something like that, and then have like a kind of pluggable system for as you move around the world. There's like actual intrinsic game blocks, but then there's other blocks that represent other kinds of abstract things, like various, things that that like a JSON document or. But that's a very ambitious and abstract eventual goal. You could define like rules for you could have like ways of launching the game to specify a block manifest. So you could navigate the world, and if the manifest can't recognize a given block, it just like shows up as unavailable. Actually, I think the way it does right now, it just shows like like a circle, a red circle with a line through it. So that you get clients that don't understand certain block types, but other clients do, and they can all exist in the same shared universe. Let me think. K onto K esto. I don't know. I don't know what that says. It says, "What's up? What's this? This is live streaming coding of the block mining simulation game." I think it was Trevor's said that I should have an intro that explains what I'm doing, so I don't have to keep answering. Second screen would be ideal. Yeah, I need some kind of like overlay so it's on the stream. one more message to send. This is becoming super crazy code, but that's because I'm doing like a bunch of, I have to like message pass to another thread and do all this like tree traversal and stuff. You should call up Elon Musk and have him as a guest on the live stream. That's a good idea. That would probably boost my viewership, and I'd start getting lots of super chats. I'll put that on the to-do list for tomorrow. I mean, he'll probably say yes. I can't see why not. I could cut a deal with him. He could have some of the super chats. Okay, this is a lot of code that's untested. Let's run it. See what it does. It'll probably not compile. I have a message to get the root. I can get the root and I can get children, but I can't just look something up by IDs. I already have so many message types. I would throw money at the wall, but unfortunately I spent it on energy drinks the other day. No worries. The energy drinks will pay dividends in the future after you get energy and study for your courses. Oops. Oh, nice. We got a super chat. Hey, from New Zealand. 20 New Zealand dollars. From Vicus. I guess it cuts off the rest of your name there. Thank you very much. How are things in New Zealand these days? I hope they're better than every other country these days. things are okay. A lot of the same problems as the rest of the world. Yeah, I've actually heard my microphone's off kilter here. Yeah, I've heard that yeah, I've heard that like we have a very high immigration here in Canada, and I've heard that some immigrants are starting to say that Canada is no longer the place to go to, and I've heard one of them now they're going to New Zealand and Australia a lot. Those are the two places to go. Funny, I'm a migrant from South Africa. I think I have it easier than a lot of others. So look, European. Yeah, it's the world is in a weird state. We used to have like immigration used to be a lot more like orderly. Like when I first moved up here, like most of the people in my class were first or second generation immigrants, and we're all pretty like acclimated to Canada. But in like, I don't know, ever since COVID, it seems like there's no rhyme or reason to things. We don't really have as much integration. We used to have we used to focus on skilled immigration, and also just integrating people. But like we have I was reading up on like our homeless crisis is getting worse, and historically it's been like, you know, people with mental illness and stuff, but there's also people are saying that there's an increasing number of immigrants who end up in the shelter system, which is like, I don't know, I'm not sure why our government brings people in if we don't have a place to house them, if they just end up homeless. I mean, it's honestly kind of cruel because some people really don't end up in the best position. There's a lot of immigrants that also get exploited and stuff, get caught up in rental scams, and a lot of them like don't really know how things are supposed to operate here. So they're like, I actually get the most common phone call spam that I get is like, we are immigration enforcement. You're going to jail if you don't give us some money. Do an S tier dev for not using IntelliJ? Actually, I've been trying to use it, but I keep defaulting back to just using command line because it's so all my habits are all in Vim. I would say recently I've started, like, I use both, so I'll just, like, if I do a bunch of development, I'll use this and then I'll switch back to IntelliJ, and I actually haven't imported it yet today, but that way I can, like, if I have like 50 import things, I can just like click through the UI. So I've been historically I haven't used it at all, but I'm trying to improve my methods a bit. It's on. I also need to learn NeoVim. That's something people have recommended to me. So I don't know, it could be S tier, but it could be F tier. Maybe I'm actually a noob. I'm missing out on all the new features. Okay, that might be closer to what I want. There's so many different tools to use these days, and they keep like inventing them and releasing new stuff, and I just can't keep up. Actually, this might be a good opportunity to use IntelliJ. Let's see. Same started about 20 years ago when Notepad++. JBuilder was cutting edge. Yeah, I used to code in Notepad++. It's funny how a lot of people start out that way, and like, nobody told you there was anything better than Notepad++. I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding here. Vanilla NeoVim is no different than Vim. Oh yeah, I have to set up the language server. I think is the thing that would really help me there. Differences config. All right. So here's where IntelliJ might be worth using. don't want to spam you with this, but I feel it's pertinent to mention Helix for the 5th time. The motions are slightly different, but it is far less fast than NeoVim, and you'll be productive. I don't know. I'll probably Helix. It's an editor, a terminal editor. I'll probably, if I do learn anything, it'll probably be NeoVim. It's too much of this stuff. Too many things to learn. LSPs are built in and take two short lines languages. Toggle to activate. Yeah, I guess maybe I'll look it up. You said it's I guess if the motions though are different. I have too much muscle memory now for Vim. I don't think I'll always use it in some form. Basic stuff like HIJK all the same. With my complex stuff. Yeah, I mean, I could learn it, but I could also just not learn it. Would you ever consider moving to the United States? That was would have been a reasonable plan years ago, but at this point, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe if I was very rich, maybe I would have houses all over the place. Someone who's configured NeoVim with language servers and started with Vim, much like yourself. I became productive in Helix very quickly. Yeah, I'll add it to do this to look at, but it's I already have so many other higher priority things. Shija CS says hi. How's it going? When I put proficient with Helix on my grinder profile, thanks for the tip. I don't have a grinder profile though. Entertainment City says, where are you from? And what do you think about Pakistan? I'm in Canada. I don't really think much about Pakistan. There's, I think a lot, there's, I don't know necessarily a lot, but there's definitely, we have some people that come here from Pakistan. Okay, that builds. What are you doing? I am doing some work on my block mining simulation game. Let's try this. I figured that would happen. Well, I did get a lot of coding done tonight, setting up messages and stuff. I think it'll probably take me a bit to debug that and get it working, because it touches a lot of stuff. It's already past midnight. I think I'll probably call it a night and declare this a successful stream. So have a good night, guys. I'll probably be back on tomorrow.